What happened to the interest rates? They were supposed to go down. Michelle, you said the interest rates were supposed to go down. Me? No, I didn't do that. No. No, who said that? It wasn't me. Hey, I'm Michele, Replogle, Coldwell Baker Realty. Yes, I did. I went on trusted advice, and they said they expected to see the rates lower by, a couple percent down to 5.5% by the end of this summer. Well, TikTok, it is the middle of July, and we are not seeing interest rates go down. In fact, last week was a banner week. They went up a little bit over 7. Ouch! What happened? Well, I'm going to give you the market update this week, but I'm going to tell you that if there was a buyer that was unsure about the market, that buyer is pulling back. We hadn't seen a lot of pullback the whole year. We had seen buyers come and just go, okay, this is what there is. I spent all last year looking and I didn't find what I wanted, and I'm willing to pay more because that's the house I want, or I'm done and I just want to buy. Well, we've exhausted those buyers. So here we are now. We are at a time in the market where a buyer who was going to enter the market, remember, they come in the spring if you're a seller. And if they don't find something, they look through the summer. And typically when I get busy is a bit towards the end of the summer and early spring, because those are the buyers that are just, when I work with buyers, those are the buyers that are like, okay, I'm tired of looking. I'm not going to just take anything, but I'm going to be a little bit more motivated to take what I find. Well, low inventory has really pushed the buyer who was willing to accept a higher interest rate back, because they're like, well, not only do I have to pay more, I'm just not seeing anything I like. So we're starting to see a little pushback from buyers, right? The other thing that's come back, which is a definite market update, is physical contingency. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to give you the statistics. I'm going to give you a little of financial news. I know, but we got to talk a little bit about those interest rates. And then I'll give you a couple stories of some stuff that I've been seeing actually out in the trenches. So first off, let's just get into statistics. Now, I had a holiday in between. So 2 weeks ago, before the 4th of July, we had 54 listings. This week we have 41 new listings, that is. Price reductions, 19 to 31. So that plays into what I just said. Buyers are starting to pull back, right? So we're going to start seeing those price reductions that reflect those interest rates that are not stubbornly not coming down. Now, we might see more price reductions, but you're going to see those on the fringe. Those are the properties that either need a little work, that aren't in the best location, that have things about them that make them a little not as desirable for the buyers. So you'll see the price reductions mainly there. But if the house is super sweet, super tight, has a great location, you are not going to see the price reductions there so much, because buyers are like, well, I got to pay more. Eventually I'll be able to refinance this loan. So I'm going to jump. But that lower inventory is starting to kind of play in the market a little bit. You're still getting multiple offers, especially here on the west side of Santa Cruz, but it's we're starting to see that shift a little bit. Transaction canceled 2 from 2 weeks ago, 3 this week. Once the buyers get in that property, they're going to take it. Sold 42 2 weeks ago. Sold this week 28. Remember, that would have been the end of that month of June. So at the end of the month, there are always higher sales. But still, that's not bad for a week. Expired and canceled. Now, there's a number we're starting to see change a little bit. So we might not see as many buyers back out, which is that transaction canceled, but we're seeing the expired and canceled. I'm starting to see more of those where people are like, well, I'm going to list at a different time, or it's expired and I'm going to do something else. I'm going to rent it, or sometimes they sell off market. So don't expect that because a house goes off the market that seller has changed their mind. Sometimes just being on the market gets a little tiring. That's if they're living there, they don't want to do any more open houses. They don't want any more showings. But if they take it off, they'll be like, okay, this person really wants to see my house. Maybe I'll show it. Now, for example, story time. I was working with buyers, and they were interested in a property, and that property went off the market. Well, it was Christmas and it was winter, and boy, what a winter it was, right? And they had little kids and they didn't want to show it. So they took it off the market. But my buyers were still really interested. So I called the agent and I said, hey, my buyers are really interested in this property. What happened? And they're like, oh, no, we just took it off because of the weather and little kids. It wasn't because they didn't want to sell. Let me see if I can arrange a showing time. Well, a month and a half later, I think it was, maybe a month, I don't know. It was quite a while later, we actually got into the property, but we actually wrote the offer up front. We just said, hey, we think we like this. We think this is the one. So we wrote the offer up front and then went and saw it and said, hey, would you please take another look at our offer? But we're really excited about this property. So it was an off-market sale done the way we're supposed to do it, you know, obeying all the rules. But just keep in mind that expired and cancels don't mean that that house isn't for sale. It just means that possibly the seller just wanted a break, or they have a, you know, a home situation or extenuating circumstance. I just need to add in about physical contingencies. So I'm going to throw that in here. So if you're a buyer, good news, sellers are allowing you a bit of time to go look into the property. Remember, I told you many times in all the videos that, you know, sellers may, if they give you all the inspections and reports, they may not give you any time to look over the property. And if there's a lot of competition for the property, you might have a lot of buyers waiving their physical contingencies, but they're back. What does that mean? That means that if you write an offer on a property, you get a chance to really look over those reports or maybe get your own inspection. And I've had buyers do that on my listings, and it's been fine. They didn't find anything different, but they were allowed some time to do their own due diligence. And if you're a seller, please allow for a little patience for that. That's a due process that the buyers are going to want right now while they are paying the higher interest rates and possibly even that higher price. So maybe just a little time to check into the property is really good. Anyway, let's get into Lawrence Yun of, I believe, yeah, NAR, National Association of Realtors. His big prediction is the mortgage rates of 3% aren't coming back probably ever, which is really, that's a prediction. Sorry. I probably could have given you that prediction, but he says even if there's a pandemic or something worse, that probably will never happen again. Okay. What I would have liked to known is, when did he predict the rates actually would go a little lower than 7%? But, you know, I'm at a loss for words because nobody knows. And just at the beginning of the video, I said, I had to walk back my prediction of under 6%. And now we've got the National Association of Realtors chief economist, really good guy, knows this stuff. Yeah, he's not going to predict anything. That's because everything is just so wonky. Inflation's coming down, which is good for rates. It should reflect them. It just doesn't seem to have. Now, I don't know exactly why the rates aren't coming down. I've actually been on a couple of YouTube videos. I've read some chief economist predictions, which have been a little on the shy side. And then I've also been with a lender, and actually nobody really knows what's going to happen or where we're going. So what I would tell you, if you are coming into the market as a buyer and you are okay with the rate, you got pre-qualified, fine. Or I would counsel you to talk to the seller about a buy down. Now, they're a little complicated and that people have a hard time wrapping their head around it. But basically what you're doing is asking the seller to buy down your loan. And if you're a seller, I would offer that as well. So you're not actually taking less for your house. And buyer, you might be paying a smidge more to actually help buy that buy down, which would buy your rate down and get you a better mortgage payment that should help you float to that time of when our rates are going to go down a little bit, because we know they're going to go down. We just don't know when. So there's a couple ways to do that. Now, I had a buyer in January who actually tried to get the seller to give them a buy down, and the seller didn't want to do it. And actually, they gave them a price reduction on the property. So it still made their payment go down a little lower, but I would have probably given them the buy down because you would have gotten a little bit more from your property. It's tax deductible. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to do it. So if there's a takeaway to this video, it would be nobody knows where the interest rates are going. I can tell you that with firm authority, nobody knows. Number two, if you are buying or selling, look into this buy down of the interest rate. You as a seller may get a bit more or what you want for your property. And as a buyer, you might get into the property that you want, but get the payment down where it's a little bit more palatable. And then the other thing is just know inventory is low. And if there is a house that you like and the location is okay, I would encourage you, if you're tired of looking and you want to buy, to just go for it, really, because sometimes you just got to jump. And I can say that from full authority of my first house. And the house that I live in now, when I first saw it, wow, what a stinker. So, you know, maybe manage your expectations a little bit if you're ready to buy. And as a seller, get creative and you can engage the buyer and get what you want, and they'll get what they want, which is your house, and you'll get what you want, which is selling your house. So yeah, win-win for everybody. I'm Michele Replogle, Coldwell Banker Realty. Hey, look for me on Instagram. I post videos of Santa Cruz there. YouTube, I have a lot of information there about buying in Santa Cruz. I always try to tone it just to Santa Cruz, just so you know what's going on in the real estate market just here. And also follow me on Twitter for Santa Cruz news. There's been some fun stuff there. We have an otter eating surfboards, so I've been retweeting a lot of the photos and information about that bad otter. And yeah, follow me and subscribe, like, share, and all that sort of good stuff, or just give me a call. Thanks. Bye.